Hello and welcome to this International Conference on Men's Issues 2020 interview with your hosts, me, Elizabeth Hobson, leader of the political party Justice for Men and Boys and the Women Who Love Them, and Mike Buchanan, the party's former leader and founder. Today we have a special treat for you. Clara, also known as Miss Matthews, joins us to discuss her quarter of a century in the sex industry. Welcome and thank you for joining us, Clara.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute treat.
So Mike and I greatly enjoyed the interview you had recently with Jerry Barnett. We'll provide a link to that in the low bar. Clara, 25 years ago, you were a 19-year-old student at Oxford University studying philosophy, politics and economics. Other people who've studied PPE at Oxford include Boris Johnson, the current Conservative Prime Minister, David Cameron, a former Conservative Prime Minister, and Ed Miliband, a former Labour Party leader. So it's so good to know that a former PPE student has made a success of her life.
Oh, very good.
So, Clara, can you outline your journey into sex work from being that 19-year-old student at Oxford, please?
Of course. Well, I was very miserable at Oxford. It's very hard to remember now why, but I was very shy and suffering from sort of low self-esteem. It just wasn't the right place for me, honestly. I felt, I don't come from a particularly privileged background, and everyone else there seemed to. I was the only student there on a grant, for example, and I just didn't really know how to be there. So I decided to take a year out, having gone through a lot of silliness like eating disorders and that kind of idiotic nonsense, very boring for everyone. And I did a few other things, but then about 3 months after I left, I think, I saw an advertisement in the Evening Standard that said dancers wanted. You'll make up to £600 a night, no experience necessary. I thought, that sounds absolutely magnificent. I knew I loved dancing because I'd done a bit of that. My mum was a dance teacher, in fact, and I certainly loved money. And I had absolutely no experience of anything at all. So I thought, this is perfect for me. So I went along to the audition, and I was so green and idiotic that I went along in a leotard and jazz shoes. It just seems astonishing now. I kind of had the vague idea that, we'd all be doing routines in the light. It didn't happen like that at all. The audition consisted of our walking out on stage one after another. About 6 of us turned up, and just getting our tits out and then walking off the stage again. And so if you've ever tried to get your tits out of a leotard, do elegantly. So I completely fluffed it. But having spent a few hours with all those other women, there were students, mothers, women with struggling businesses, women who were just coming out of marriages. I just loved them. I suddenly felt that I belonged, and I wanted a bit of it. I wanted all the glitter balls and the champagne and the fun and the attention and the sequins and the high heels. So I went and bought myself a basque and the heels and a fancy lace dress, which I still possess. I can still fit in fact, 25 years on. And the next day I went back for another audition, and that time I got it and never looked back. And it was just meant to be temporary. I kept saying I will go back to Oxford, I really will, but never happened. I just got too used to being happy and making tons of money. And I found I'd found my niche, really. Yeah. I'm a big theatrical show-off. I'm very keen on earning a living. And it just worked perfectly for me. I was born to be a sex worker.
Wonderful. Clara, I really love, because you related that story in the interview at Jerry Barnett as well. And one of the things I love is that idea of getting there. And one of the things that appealed to you at I presume it was lap dancing club?
Yes, it was, the windmill, yeah.
Yeah, it was the sisterhood.
Yeah, very much so.
It's so nice to find that. And you find it in unlikely places because, I looked for it in feminism, where you're supposed to find it. And I didn't find it, but I found it in the men's human rights movement.
That's amazing, isn't it? It's incredible. Yeah. Yeah, I think I was certainly looking for something, obviously much more than just a job. And I found it there. I found a whole society and a network of people I could rely on. And they stayed friends for life, some of those girls.
Yeah.
It's something we hear time and again, Ellie, isn't it? I mean, I'll edit this out, but something we hear time and again. We heard it from Michelle, who found just nastiness with feminists. But she said she's never felt more at home or more appreciated as in the men's rights movement. It was really fun. Yeah. Anyway, okay, on to my first question. Okay. Clara, can you tell us something about the deplorable men who pay for your services, either on a one-to-one basis or as subscribers to your OnlyFans channel? We'll put a link to that in the low bar.
Oh, thank you. Oh, with pleasure.
My friend Jacob and I took out a subscription only yesterday, and we're already big fans of your work. It's a great channel, and you and others are clearly having so much fun making the videos. It's beautiful to watch. And frankly, it's a steal at just $6 a month. I've heard that some men pay to meet up with sex workers and don't even seek sex. They just want the company of a friendly, intelligent, attractive woman who will chat with them for a time without busting their balls, maybe unlike their wives or other female partners. So can you tell us something about the men who pay you for your time?
Yes, with pleasure. And that's absolutely true. I get so many men who just want to talk to me, who just want to feel heard by somebody, by a woman, and feel respected and valued. And I think that's absolutely tragic. Or they just want a woman who wears stockings for them. Why aren't their wives doing that for them? It's outrageous. There's a man I saw quite recently whose son had just died, actually, and just wanted to come and talk to me and be hugged and just be in the company of a sympathetic woman. I'm very fond of the men who come to see me and pay for my OnlyFans. I really am. Many of them have become, say, lifelong friends, but Facebook friends. We go for dinner. They remember my birthday and so on. They're a charming bunch. Nothing really very much unites them in terms of class or age. They tend to be older, obviously, and professional types, particularly the ones who want to be beaten. That seems to be the way it goes. You know, it's a cliche because it's true. They always tend to be very intelligent, I'll say, because you really have to be, I think, to transmogrify pain into pleasure. You have to, that's a mind trick. So you have to be very imaginative, creative, interesting, and clever. Yeah, they're a nice bunch of people. And I'm so grateful to them for making my lifestyle feasible, really.
I was about to say that nobody gets hurt in your work, but if we restrict it to bottoms, they certainly do get hurt, don't they?
They get thoroughly hurt. Oh yes, sometimes there's blood on the walls, but they love it. It's all allowed. But certainly I don't get hurt. That's the important part. Yeah, I'm having a high old time. I really am.
It's very obvious in the videos. Very obvious.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. And increasingly I'm getting female clients, which is lovely. Actually, all the girls you saw in my OnlyFans, they all pay to come and see me, which is extraordinary.
Wow.
But yeah, they love it too. Wonderful. Yeah, I'm so lucky. And then they come and be in my videos free, and we all throw things at each other and have a giggle. It's fine.
That's fascinating. I mean, the video I saw last night was of 4 young ladies, not of a schoolgirl age, I should say, before anyone sort of jumps on my back.
No, I think the youngest is about 30. Yeah.
But you were having fun, but they were having so much fun.
Oh, they love it. Yeah.
It was just
it's a total escape from the real world. It's, they love the chance to just dress up and fantasize and do something completely different. Go back to sort of girls' comics days. Yeah, they love it.
Because it's something that the run-of-the-mill internet porn is not, which is fun.
Yeah, it's true, actually.
And you can tell when, and because one of the questions I had was, why would people pay a subscription when there's, you can get all the internet porn free that you want? And 5 minutes on your channel, I thought, oh, this is why.
Oh, that's really lovely. Yeah. Thank you. I think what they value is the interaction with me. So they feel they're getting a lot of behind the scenes stuff as well. So they get me talking to my phone going, oh, I'm really nervous about the shoot. So they feel they get, not the finished polished product, but all the silly drunken shenanigans that you don't usually get to see. That's what they love.
Yeah. Cool. Good. Elizabeth, over to you, I think, for the next question.
Yeah. So I wonder if you can tell us anything about any hostility that you face with your work, and whether it tends to come from men or women, and whether there's a difference between traditionalist men and women or feminist men and women, and maybe if there's an age dimension.
Certainly I've only ever really received criticism from women, and abuse and sort of barriers to making my work possible. I did stripograms for a couple of years, and my agent, who's a woman, told me always to use the men's loos when you're out on pubs and restaurants, because women will hit you if they get the chance, which was true, actually. Wow. I mean, no, I was never hit, but a lot of my friends were, and I always got really horrible, nasty comments from the girls in the group, look at the size of her ass, or I could do that, what she thinks she's doing, who does she think she is? Whereas men, of course, just had their tongues out, going, oh, tits, lovely. So yeah, all the abuse I've ever got has been from women. I wrote an article recently about OnlyFans, in fact, in my vanilla capacity, and I had so many, I do journalism as well, and I had so many men write to me and say, thank you, I've shown this to my teenage daughters and told them that porn isn't evil, because the new generation seems to be extraordinarily puritanical. Teenage girls, it's horrifying. They just seem to think of sex as something dirty, evil, vicious, just bizarre. But yeah, stripping, I had feminists super glue the locks of the clubs I was working in, which again wasn't too terrible for me, but for women with children, you know, who were relying on that money to pay their childminder and get the tube home, that was horrifying. You know, they were sobbing on the pavement.
Wow.
I had rocks thrown at me. Girl who was another strippogram actually had her car turned on its roof. How they did that, God only knows. Probably worse than men involved in that, actually.
Good Lord.
But, I always hated doing the birthday parties. The stag do's are always much kinder and pleasanter, actually. If it's men only groups, they tend to be very charming and respectful. But yeah, women have been troublesome. Not so much now, I think, because I'm probably a bit feistier and I give back. But at the time, it was horrifying and scary.
Yeah. Clara, your interview with Jerry Barnett was the best advert I've ever seen for women to take up sex work. You alluded to your property portfolio, and I was struck by your statement that in 25 years of sex work, you've met thousands of sex workers and never met one who hated the work. The gap between the lived experiences of you and these other sex workers and feminist and media portrayals of sex workers as oppressed, drug-dependent wrecks could not be larger. So I have two questions here. Firstly, are you hopeful that Jerry's interview and this one will help spread the truth about sex work? And secondly, I'd love to publish your autobiography through my modest publishing concern, LPS Publishing. Might you be interested in writing that book?
Oh, I'll start with that because I'd absolutely love to. Actually, I've spent some of lockdown doing a bit of scribbling. I bet you'd like some of it. Maybe I'll send you the first chapter and you see what you think. Yes, please. That'd be wonderful. Gosh, yeah, exciting.
Yes, we LPS publishes the books that others won't.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Well, that's probably exactly what I need.
So if you like a sex, I don't know if is it right? It's the sex positive.
Yes.
Thing, and it was an absolute eye opener that interview. Anyway, I'm repeating myself.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yes, the very few occasions I have spoken to feminists about what I do, they're always desperate to see me as a victim. They always want to hear that I'm a drug addict or that I'm beaten up regularly. I have a pimp, and they're, horrified and baffled when, clearly I'm clever, capable, in charge of my own life, and a canny businesswoman. They don't really know what to do with me then, and they just sort of leave me alone in a corner because I just don't fit the narrative. It's extraordinary. There's a piece on the BBC just last week about prostitution. I forget what, but it was illustrated with a woman, a very skinny woman, bending over a car showing her stocking tops. Nobody does that anymore. It's just, we're all typing on laptops on adult work. And why nobody's caught up with what sex work is just baffles me. It's simply extraordinary. I don't get it.
I recall a BBC interview of a street prostitute in Leeds, I think it was, and they said, we just interviewed the first one that we came across. This woman had, I would say, less than a quarter of her teeth left. She looked like John Prescott in drag.
Nice.
And the idea, which is not how she got in trade. I mean, what the other girls look like, I kind of.
I bet she was at a central casting. I bet she was an actor. Yeah, it's really backed her teeth, especially.
You wonder. I know men have. Well, I always talk about women's Chardonnay glasses and men's beer goggles. Yes. But dear God, anyway, sorry, I'm off on a tangent again.
I'm sure there are sex workers out there who hate their lives. There must be, surely.
Of course.
Just in my experience, I haven't encountered any of them.
They're as diverse as any demographic, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course, there are people who hate what they do. Yeah, and it is work, and of course you'd rather be sitting on your sofa watching telly or playing with your kids. But at the same time, as work goes, it's pretty good, I reckon. Any chance to be creative. So I'm creative myself. I run a theatre company, my vanilla life, and a chance to play up and dress up and play with my friends is phenomenal. It's such a treat, and get paid for that. Wow. Every day, all I hear from my friends is, "Oh, let's get together and make content and have a party and drink wine and be silly together." And that's my job. It just baffles me every day, really. How can I be so lucky? And why isn't everyone else doing it? It's lucky they're not, or we might run out of men and wallets.
Right. But I think people are attracted by your personality as much as everything else.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes, I think it's it uses all of me, this job. It really does. You have to be clever and resourceful and constantly thinking of the next big thing. yeah, and you have to be interesting and funny, and it uses my writing ability as well, actually, because I'm very good at coming up with plots and introducing new characters, and it's like a soap opera. They join in and see what you're up to next, and they get sort of addicted to that as much as my tits, because tits aren't that interesting really once you've seen them once. So, meh. But it's what you're doing today. That's what they want to know, and they
yes. Okay. Well, I mean, just going back to LPS publishing for a second. I mean, we're interested in publishing not only. Well, we would be interested in publishing not only your autobiography, but other work. I think, did you say you write fiction or something? So
wonderful. Yeah, I've got about a dozen books up on Amazon, sort of spanking erotica mainly, and some real.
Okay.
Yes, I don't want to make assumptions, but you'll probably love it. It's really disgusting. I let my imagination go mental. I know.
I know.
I can do that.
I've wanted for some time to publish a book with photographs.
Oh, okay.
So perhaps that's something that we can cover. Clara, I wonder if we can go back to your windmill days. I think you said that you started your career at the windmill. So can you take us through your life, from then till now?
So I was at the windmill lap dancing for about 6 months, but there were about 100 girls working there, so it was quite competitive. You had to spend an awful lot of time talking to men and hustling, which I found quite tiresome. And then I was walking through Dean Street one day, and I was stopped by the chap on the door. Said, "Are you looking for a job?" So I went in and auditioned that second. I don't think I had any clothes with me. The girls in the dressing room sorted me out. They gave me, stockings and garters. They really enjoyed dressing me up, pushed me on stage. And I was at the Sunset Strip, for that it was, in Dean Street for about 2 years, absolutely loving it. Literally just went on stage, you danced for 8 minutes, and then you went back to the dressing room and you studied. I was doing an English degree at that point, so that was just heaven. And again, wonderful bunch of girls who, again, lots of them lifelong friends. Just the best time ever. Sadly, that closed, or a change of management. So, I did a peep show. I started doing webcam very early in the day. It was like late 90s. So no one even knew what this magical internet was. And I had to go to a special industrial estate, and they were terrified they were going to be found out. And I had to type to men and take my clothes off and show them my bits. And that was really fun as well, actually. It's extraordinary what men want to see and what they want to talk about. And, faced with a naked girl, often they just want to talk to someone about sex or about their problems or all sorts of things, about their lives, about their work, about how they won a golf tournament that day. That was a real eye-opener. Oh, gosh. Then I was doing stripograms. I was working the pub circuit where you shake a pot and you get 50p put in it. That was really fun as well. Did some travelling. Essex, Herts, London borders. Again, smoking ban kind of ruined all of that, and pubs were closing. Then I got pregnant, so I started working on which was extraordinary. I was taking up to 200 calls a day sometimes from men who wanted the most extraordinary things. There was a man who wanted to pretend he was a chicken, and I would run round the back garden, catch him, kill him and eat him, and I had to spend hours going, nom, 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 nom. "Oh, you're so tasty." So that was an eye-opener as well. Extraordinary stuff. And then I moved into porn. Actually, when I was stripping, a chap asked me to do some modelling for Janus, Febris, Privilege Plus, all that lot, the Janus shop in Old Compton Street, and also to do some videos. And I found out how much I enjoyed being on camera. You wouldn't know it from this, but if I'm naked and not talking, I'm much more comfortable. So I got a spanking in that. I started out as a sub model, getting spanked and caned, which I quite enjoyed, honestly. But as I got older, that came to an end a bit more, and I became the more respectable headmistress you see before you here today, getting to spank girls. And then I realised from working with other women that there was an awful lot of money to be made from offering one-to-one sessions where men would come to your house, or my mother's house, in fact, it is. My mum works as well. It's fun. We cornered the market on that one, mother and daughter spanking sessions, and they would ask you to provide an extraordinary range of non-sexual services, or at least the sex only happens in their heads. It's not between our bodies. And often they just want you to say a certain phrase over and over, or twiddle their nipples while they look at porn, or wear a rubber skirt and sit on their face, or pee on them. Oh gosh, all sorts of things I've been asked to do. Some of which I turned down, but some of which I think that sounds fun and interesting. Why not? I'll give it a go. And that was about 12 years ago now. I've been doing domination, and with COVID increasingly I've moved into OnlyFans and doing more online stuff, more videos. I've been making custom clips. There's a chap asked me to make a film recently where I had to just pierce a football while I looked at the camera. That was his thing. Amazing what's out there. Really.
Sorry, Clark, to pierce a football.
Yeah, that's his thing. He's into sort of rubber and balloon play. It's a really big deal. So it's quite hard actually to pierce a leather football while looking at the camera. I was terrified I was going to lose a hand, but I did it.
What on earth did you pierce the football with?
Oh, it was a very sharp Stanley knife. Terrible. Yeah. But you know, it's money. Yes, you see life. There's a chap asked me to park on his hands once. That was the weirdest I've ever had. I politely declined that.
I'm sorry, Clara. I just missed that.
Sorry, the chap wanted me to park on his hands. He said he wants me to drive along, and and he'll be lying there with his hands out. I don't think I'm insured for that, mate.
Oh,
Plus, I'm terrible at parking. I'll probably kill you. I don't say yes to all of them. But it's an interesting insight into the human psyche.
You mentioned insurance. What?
No, I'm not insured.
Okay, I thought, hello, I'd like to take out some insurance for...
parking on hands, yeah.
For parking.
Yeah. I'll say my parking's so lousy. I've definitely got his cock or his head or both. Not good news. But no, I'm never quite sure how legal any of this is really when I'm sort of, there's blood up the walls and stuff and they're asking me to do it. It's, but so far I've been fine. Hopefully I can talk my way out of any problems I have.
This, I guess, sort of comes off the area of things like fetishes, I guess, Clara. Can you, I just find, puncturing a football, it's just like, I can't get into that guy's head. Never mind having someone park on their hands. It's like, you couldn't make this up, could you?
You really couldn't. Every time I think I've heard absolutely everything, somebody else comes along and, oh God, the photographer wrote to me this morning saying he had a navel fetish and he wanted to pour custard in my navel and take pictures. Okay, well, that's new to me as well. Whatever you like, you're paying.
As long as it's not hot custard, presumably.
Yes, obviously there are limits.
I mean, that would be perverted.
Oh God, that's just wrong, yeah. Mind you, cold doesn't sound much fun either.
No. But can we sort of just explore, because I find this, the whole fetish thing, can you take us through some other examples of the fetishes that, I mean, and I guess very often these are things that a man would not ask of his wife. Almost
yes.
Aren't they?
Exactly that. Well, a friend of mine makes a very good living just from blowing up balloons and then gradually deflating them and sort of bouncing on them, that kind of thing. Smoking's a big fetish now because it's such a taboo. So yeah, women smoking big cigars to camera, that kind of thing. Sadly, I can't do that. I'm rubbish. I just cough. Cough like a 12-year-old. Gosh, what else? I do quite a lot of rubber work and sort of breath play and that kind of, which I do quite like actually. Fully encased in sort of gas masks and flippers. I kind of get that. That's quite fun. It's like bondage really, but just tighter and all over the body. Gosh, there must be heaps more. Poo, I don't go near. Racial abuse I'm asked for quite often actually, which again I don't do because I don't feel comfortable doing it. But there's plenty of girls that will, and I kind of respect it. If you've been told you're packy all your life, I suppose, and you kind of own it and pay someone to call you that, I suppose it makes sense. It's a way of dealing with that.
I remember, it must be 30 years ago, Clara, a BBC documentary. I think I mentioned this to you last night, Elizabeth, where there was a dominatrix in New York City, and she had a lot of clients who were Jewish, and would demand that she dress up in a Nazi uniform and humiliate them.
Yeah.
And 30 years on, I remember that. That program, and I thought, I just don't why, and to spend money on it as well.
I think it's a really clever, impressive, creative way of dealing with feeling lesser or having some issues around your identity, is to actually own it, to use that horrible common phrase, and and pay for it and have it in your own terms and get off on it. I have lots of men also who like to be told they have really tiny penises and they like to have them shown and said, I've seen clits bigger than that kind of thing, and they put chastity, which again is quite hard to get your head around, but I suppose probably, and some of them have got really quite average sized penises as well, which is even weirder. But I guess at some point some woman has said something unpleasant about their cock size and that's their way of dealing with it. It's fascinating stuff.
I'm reminded of that old joke.
It must be,
I'm sorry, Elizabeth, go on.
It must be quite a privilege getting this insight into people's, deepest, most secret lives.
Yeah, privilege is exactly the word. Yeah, and the fact that they trust me with that and not to laugh. I don't just go, yes, okay, I can do that, or no, I won't. It's an astonishing insight. It really is, and I'm really very lucky, and I don't kiss and tell. I tell the anecdotes. I never give any, details away or spank
and men can just hand over money, and it's
magnificent, isn't it? What a treat.
But it's a fair exchange, isn't it? I mean, I know this whole thing about it being the oldest profession, but it's also a deeply honest profession, unlike politics, which kind of takes us back to David Cameron.
Fair. I think honestly it's the last honest profession out there. I give you what you want and you give me what I want. It's wonderful. We both have a lovely time and we kiss, we drink a glass of wine together, and see you next week. Job done. Wonderful. It's very honest.
Have you got any gaps in your diary for next week, Clara?
What would you like? Is it the football? Heaps. Sadly, with wretched lockdown, my diary's all gaps. It's a nightmare. Give it time.
Okay. Is there anything more along the fetish line was just fascinating, but
love all that. Oh gosh, there must have been so many. I should have prepared a list. Well, I'll write my autobiography for you, and I will carefully make notes of every bizarre, weird thing I've been asked to do. Say all the poo things always stick in my mind. I don't do poo. I don't like that.
No, that is weird.
No, not my scene.
I like the other stuff. That's weird.
Yeah, weird's fine, but yeah, gross. No, thank you.
Yeah.
As a chap who likes to be treated as a dog, I don't really go in for that very much, but yeah, being put in a cage and led around a lead, and while I wear a fur coat, and he likes to go around the park, which is a bit awkward because I live in quite a small town, so we go out at 5 o'clock in the morning to do that. There's a chap who likes to be under my care for a whole week, so yeah, and he likes to be a schoolboy, and I wake him up with a spanking, put him to bed with a spanking. That's quite tiring, really.
One thing I remember, this must be 20 years ago now, a TV program on men, and this lady charged a fortune for this service. So she said it was really very well-heeled men were her customers, and they basically wanted to wear a nappy.
Oh yes, I do
like
get
24 hours, and then be scolded when they'd, I've only just cleaned you and you've just done, and so, have you done some of that, or? I
have, yeah. Again, I try to avoid the adult age like very much. I'm not very maternal, but yes, I do like to wear nappies. Yeah, boys and girls actually, but mainly boys. And yeah, be scolded for making a mucky and having baths and watch cartoons and cuddle together and mummy and all that stuff.
It begs the obvious question: where on earth do you buy size 3XL nappies?
And they're always sort of 30 stone 6'4" men as well. Always. It's extraordinary. Yeah. I was trying to get the high chair. That's the real problem in that case. And the potties to suit. Yeah. Yeah. If you specialise in that, you really need a very big house, a big room, a changing table.
So there are this is fascinating. So there are outsized potties and things.
Yeah, there are suppliers that make those, and the enormous great baby grows that say "I love mummy" on them. And yeah, you can buy it all. Yeah, particularly in Japan, I think they're quite into that. So yes, that's where they get the stuff.
Right.
What a wonderful world,
isn't it? Just profitable if you exploit it right. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, I think we'll end. Okay, so I'll edit this bit out, but we'll end with some with some footage.
Mm-hmm.
And what? I mean, should we just have a chat about what that footage could be?
Yeah, by all means.
Do you have like favourite footage? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's thousands of videos of me spanking girls and caning girls, so that'd be very easy to arrange. So you saw I got into splosh recently, so lots of yogurt and whipped cream food fights type thing. What else?
So splosh, Clara.
Right. It wouldn't be possible, or I don't know if it would be acceptable either, Mike. But what do you think about like the bottoms with ICMI written on?
That'd be fantastic.
Okay. So two sets of bottoms, four cheeks.
Perfect. Oh, I see. Easy.
Is that what you're thinking, Ellie? That's lovely.
That can very easily be arranged. Wonderful. Okay.
Well, we'll. I mean, if you get the shot to us of just two sort of pert bottom side by side, and then we'll have our techie guy.
Okay.
Put ICMI on them, ICMI20 or something.
Okay, perfect.
That's a brilliant. Elizabeth comes up with the most creative ideas. She's brilliant.
Wonderful, well done. You should be on OnlyFans. You see, this is genius. Exactly the kind of thing.
I think Elizabeth would earn a bloody fortune.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Actually,
I'm editing this out, Elizabeth, in case you're wondering. But she's drop dead gorgeous. She's fun.
And
she's
creative and clever. That's all you need. Yeah, go for it. Seriously.
Go for it, Ellie. I'll be your first subscriber. and from our chat a couple of nights ago, we sometimes have drunken chats at night, Ellie and I, and we had a chat about tartan skirts, because I've got a tartan. It's a really common guy thing, isn't it? Tartan skirt.
Yeah, they're very popular. It's true.
Yeah,
lovely picture of me in a tartan skirt. I'll send you.
Yeah, Elizabeth, you've got a tartan skirt, Elizabeth, haven't you?
I do.
You've got your first customer.
I do.
Elizabeth. You got your first customer.
Fine schoolgirl, actually, with the pigtails. It's great.
Sorry, Elizabeth, are you mortified?
If only it wasn't lockdown, I'd be coming to join you.
Wonderful. Let's give it a few weeks.
But she is. I mean, she is known in Australia as Hottie Hobson.
Really fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
I always say to her that she's the only 10 in the men's rights movement, and there's a woman called Ava Brighton who's a 9.9, but only Elizabeth is a 10.
That's fair, and that's why you're the leader.
And I don't think she'll mind me saying this, but Elizabeth just turned 32.
Oh wow, gosh!
And when she goes into a bar, she has to bring an ID with her because nobody can believe she's over 18.
Yeah, I can well believe that. Actually, you look astonishing. What's your secret?
Well, it's I think it's more in the bars because I'm just under 5 foot. I think that is, people see my height and they, without even looking at the face, they go, "Why is a 12-year-old walked in?"
Oh, but you do look very young as well, and your skin is so flawless, gorgeous. It's true.
Thank you very much.
Would you? I mean, I'll stop recording if you want to, but would you ever consider that? I mean, no, I just, like Clara, I so admire what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're delivering so much happiness.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Elizabeth would
well, I might consider a guest spot on somebody else's.
Oh, fantastic!
To see if I liked it.
Okay. One thing that's been really popular, I do live streams where, I live spank girls or, lock up a sissy's willy or something. And they love that because it's like an event. And particularly with COVID, I say, right, 8 o'clock Thursday night, you're all going to be watching and they will get excited and chat about it. So that's been really popular. So if I could have a guest, we could just chat. That'd be brilliant, actually. Oh, thanks. I'm not far from it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So something tells me I'm not going to get Elizabeth into a tartan skirt. Never mind.
Nice try.
Nice try.
Yeah. Wear a tartan skirt.
Would you?
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. It's one of the things I love about Elizabeth. She you can say things that with most women would be so over the line, but Elizabeth, especially when she and I have had a drink, we have the most amazing conversations.
Wonderful. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying you love tartan skirts and women look amazing in them? It's true. Just fabulous. Yeah. My husband's last girlfriend was saying, I couldn't possibly wear stockings for you. It's an outrage. What the hell? It's just bizarre. Men love stockings. They love to look at beautiful women. It's fine. It's really fine. Yeah. You're furious. You can put that in.
Good. Okay. I think we'll probably get like half an hour of material out of that. But
I hope that's okay.
Is there anything else that we should cover? So just while you're on then, Clara. So the video you mentioned, I think just pre-lockdown with four young ladies.
Yes.
Is there something else that you do? I mean, that went on for quite some time, didn't it?
As far as I remember, I was a bit drunken, to be honest. As far as I recall, there was a lot of yogurt to clear off the walls afterwards. So that was that.
I don't remember yogurt. It went on for quite some time, and I was quite drunk as well.
Terrible. Oh, I did a lovely striptease. That's right. They insisted I do a striptease and show them how it was done, and then I got covered in whipped cream at the end for some reason.
The one I'm thinking of, there were 4 girls, and the third one kept looking round at the camera.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she's a bit shy. She's not quite as used to it as us.
Yeah.
And the other 2 desperate to hide their faces because they got proper jobs. Yeah.
Right. Okay. But the yogurt.
Yeah.
That doesn't ring a bell at all. I've got to say. Apart from you in the shower with yogurt, that's.
Oh, you've had a good rummage through. Yeah, that was fun.
I've never had a conversation like this in my life before, Clara.
I mean, that's fun, isn't it?
It's an absolute delight. I tell you. And I confidently predict, and I can't remember if I said this to you, Ellie, this is going to be the most watched ICMI video of all time.
Oh, fantastic.
So there's been about 120 in previous conferences. There's 120 at this one. This is going to put ICMI on the map, I reckon.
Oh gosh, I hope so. Oh, what fun.
Miss Matthews.
And me too. Yeah. We say it'll all help to make sex work more, hopefully people will realise it's not horrid and vile and we're not all victims, because that's all I want, really.
Yeah.
Get that message out there. Please God. Yeah.
It's all too easy. I mean, I think I probably had a view just because of the propaganda, Clara, that that it's all a bit horrible.
Yes.
And clearly it is for some, but I think Elizabeth, you were saying yesterday that the reason that there's like a causal link here with young women who are drug addicts. They're limited in what they can do work-wise, so
absolutely.
So that drives them going into the work rather than the work driving them into the drugs.
That is so exactly right. Yeah, I'm sure that's true, because yeah, if you are leading a slightly chaotic life, it's a very obvious way to go. You can still make money doing this. Yeah.
I wonder, Clara, I wonder if we can just ask, I'll just ask a final question, then Elizabeth can do the outro. But so it's something around drug addiction. Okay. Clara, I wonder if you could tell us about the popular image of sex workers as drug addicts, and whether it's the work that drives them into drugs, or the drugs that drives them into the work.
I'm absolutely confident that sex work is probably the only occupation a drug addict can find and still maintain a career, and also be a drug addict. Obviously, if you work at Sainsbury's and you turn up at 6 a.m, if you're leading a problematic, difficult life, it's obviously going to be awkward to hold down any kind of job. But sex work, you can do a little bit, off your face. It's an option, and you can lead slightly odd, awkward hours, because you're in charge of your own life. So I can log on to OnlyFans at any time I like and make money from it. So yeah, I don't think there's very much more drug usage really among sex workers than there is among the general population. So certainly in my experience, there can't be, because we're all too busy driving to gigs and so on. So you just can't be off your head. Again, I'm sure they're out there, but I think it isn't common.
Okay, so when somebody subscribes to your channel, and let's say that's $6 a month.
You got the half price offer, actually. It's normally $12 a month.
Oh, okay, all right. And I know you also do a 10% discount for an annual.
I do indeed, yeah.
So do subscribers then pay in addition for live feeds or something, or?
No, I do it all free. Yeah, I think once you've paid, that's it. You get access to absolutely everything. I have vaguely considered doing more pay-per-view videos that are muckier, but I think that's a bit of a swizz, really. They're there, they've paid, and that often I think works more in my favour, because then I get tips under posts that people particularly like. It's very useful as well, because I find out what particularly sells. So extraordinary things. Me dressed up as a cat did really well. So, no, I don't do any more pay-per-view stuff. Okay,
so the feedback is there to help you guide your future work in that sense. I see.
Absolutely. And I do it in a very scientific way. So I look at how many likes and comments I get under each post and think I need to push more of that. That really works. Yeah.
And do people get emails notifying them of these things?
No, it's all done via Twitter. So it's all linked to my Twitter account. So every time I post on OnlyFans, a little piece comes up on Twitter to alert them that something else has come. And I update twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, but always twice. And actually, short stories I write have done very well on there as well. So it's not just pictures and videos. They love my mucky mind as well, which is lovely.
And so what's your Twitter address, Clara?
It's Miss Matthews123, so same as OnlyFans.
Miss Matthews123. Lovely. Okay. Yes, Ellie, over to you for an outro, I think.
Thank you so much for joining us, Miss Matthews. This has been the most fun I've ever had in a morning.
Oh,
I hope we'll stay in touch.
Definitely, yeah. We'll be following each other now, so I hope we do.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time.
And everybody subscribe to her OnlyFans. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cool.
And it's a wrap.
Yay! Thank you. I hope that was okay.
That was fun.
That will be
a lot of fun.
Brilliant, yeah.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
You're wonderful.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Terry, you're such an inspiration.
Oh, thank you. How lovely. Thank you.